What's up, YouTube? I'm back. This is going to be the second video on my other channel. This one's going to be a football video. Tomorrow is going to be Monday Night Football. And it's going to be in New Mexico. Now, my dad is in New Mexico to watch the football game, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this is going to be one of those football games where it's going to be competitive. Only one of these teams are actually going to make it to the playoffs, and unfortunately, the Chargers are not going to be making it to the playoffs this season. It's unfortunate, but it happens in life. So let's break this video down before I go to 24-hour fitness and get my workout in for the day, because tomorrow I'll have to get up super early and do the other half of my job training at Macy's in Century City. And we don't want them to be looking at me with that mad look because I got up an hour late or 2 hours late and couldn't get to work on time. They don't appreciate that after they hire you for a job. You got to take your job serious. Like this football game. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. They can play offense, they can play defense. They're an offensive superpower. They're known for winning football games on the road. Now, they're not at home, they're in Mexico. And they got their work cut out for them because they're going to have to show the world why they deserve to be in the conversation. Now, they can win these types of football games. They've done this before in the NFL where they had football games in different countries to see the ratings in television cable. Like sometimes they'll have a game like this in Mexico. Sometimes they'll have a game in London, England. Sometimes they might go somewhere. I'm not sure if they tried Australia yet, but the NBA and the NFL love to do this. They're called experimental games. So this is like one of those experimental football games, but it's in a season. Because one of the arguments they got the past 5 out of 6 years was, oh, you did that when it was preseason. Now, why don't you do that in an actual season game? So they kind of said, all right, we'll take one or two of our good football teams and put them in there to see how well the ratings go. It's Monday Night Football. It's primetime television. The Kansas City Chiefs is probably going to win this football game because they can play 4 quarters. They can play on both sides of the football field. Even if you were to put some pressure on them in the fourth quarter, they'll still play. They got a good quarterback, and they have a backup quarterback. And of course, their offensive line is going to be able to compete. Now, their defensive line is a completely different story. Sometimes their defense is up and down, and I'm talking about Kansas City Chiefs. Sometimes with Kansas City Chiefs, you don't know which Kansas City Chiefs you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get the Kansas City that won 5 or 6 straight games in a row 8 seasons ago. You don't know if you're going to get the Kansas City Chiefs that was on the verge of winning their third game and going to the Super Bowl. You don't know what Kansas City Chiefs football team you're going to get Monday, tomorrow, in 24 hours. You don't know which team you're going to get, the team that's ready to play or just to show up because they know it's Monday Night Football. You don't know which you're going to get with the Kansas City Chiefs, is what I'm saying. But for the most part, they will win the football game. Why? Because they're an offensive football team, and all they got to do is explore and expose the quarterback. Now, for the Chargers to win, the Chargers got to play smart. The reason why they're not making the playoffs is because they lost more football games than they won. And their quarterback wasn't injured, but there were at least 7 players on that team that was hurt. And Philip Reed has to, or Rivers, whatever his last name is, he has to be able to shoulder that responsibility. I always said he's the Tom Brady to never win a Super Bowl. He is like Tom Brady. He will put the team on his back and make a comeback and win the football game. So this is a situation where he's going to have to play all 4 quarters. And instead of him just throwing the ball in the middle, I would rather for him to go on the right side or the left side of the field or up the middle, and instead of just standing there throwing the football, because every time he does that, there's an interception that gets made, and they pick the football off. Or he should do what he normally does, just run into the end zone and run the ball himself. If he does that for 4 quarters, Chargers might actually cause an upset because they got Kansas City Chiefs as the favorite to win this football game. The Chargers, if they cause an upset, that'll make people go, how on earth did the Chargers win? Now, if the Chargers win, some people might say, well, they're not making the playoffs. I don't think it matters. The fact that it's an LA team, and people love an LA team to win anyway. Kansas City Chiefs is one of those teams that if they could make the playoffs, they would have to just win all their football games. As of lately, we ain't been seeing the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs as of lately either. So this might be one of those games where it's just competitive, and the season's gonna be over in about 2 more months. So might as well play your heart out. That's probably what I would call this football game. The game where you just play your heart out. So the score, Kansas City Chief, I would probably say would run away with the football game 25-30. The reason why I say 25-30 is because I think that's how many points they put up. Either 25-30 or 20-16. It could be a high scoring game. It could be a low scoring game. It all depends on how the pace of the game is. If the game goes back and forth real fast, you're looking at a score of 30-25. If it's a slow paced football game, you're probably looking at 20-16 or something like that. So that's your prediction. Peace.